Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. It is November the 3rd, and we're looking at Jeremiah chapter 31. We have a few readings today. In chapter 31, Jeremiah speaks of the joy of the restoration of the Lord, and he promises to be the God of all the families of Israel. The Lord will deal with them in grace, and his love for them will be everlasting. Therefore he will draw them back to himself. They will live in peace, joy and fruitfulness, and the Lord will bring them from the north country, even the lame and the blind and the woman with child, and the Lord will lead them. Even the terrain will be changed to make their journey straight. The nations will marvel that the Lord will be the shepherd of Israel. The Lord will turn their mourning into joy, and he will comfort them. The priests who offer sacrifice will become full from tasting the food offered to the Lord. The Lord will prosper Israel, and there will be true justice in Israel. Then we have the famous prophecy where the Lord promises to enter into a new covenant with the two houses of Israel and the house of Judah. It will be different to the covenant that he made with them when he brought them up out of the land of Egypt. That covenant they broke. This will be a covenant of law, but the law will be written on their minds. No man will need to teach his neighbour, because they will all know the Lord fully, from the least to the greatest of them. The Lord will forgive their sins. Previously, their sins had only been covered. The sun and moon will be a witness forever of God's faithfulness to Israel, and the Lord will cause the city to be rebuilt. Even the graveyards will be holy to the Lord. In chapter 32, Jeremiah brings a prophecy of the restoration of the land and of the people. It was given in the 10th year of Zedekiah. Jeremiah was imprisoned for his testimony, and the army of the Babylonians had besieged the city. The Lord said that the king would be captured by the Babylonians and taken to Babylon. And then the Lord sent Hananiah to Jeremiah to tell him to buy a field in Anathoth. The agreement was signed and sealed, and 17 shekels were paid, and this was sealed in a pot and given as a sign to the elders of Israel, that Israel would be buried in the land, but that one day they would rise up again. The Lord said he would do it, and is there anything too hard for the Lord? The Lord explains why the city will be destroyed, because they have turned away from the Lord, turning their backs to him. In this prophetic perspective, Jeremiah sees no difference between the return from captivity and the return in a future day when every nation of the world but the Lord promises he will bring them back and bless them and the land and bless their physical lives. The religion of Judaism was a religion of human life, mortal life. In Jeremiah 33, the Lord records a prophecy when he was in prison. The Lord promised that one day he would cure them and fully restore them. He will pardon their sins and cleanse them of their filthiness. All the nations will hear of the goodness of the Lord to Israel, and there will be joy and gladness again in the streets of Jerusalem. He will send a leader, their Messiah, Christ, who will bring peace and justice to the land. He will save Judah, and he will be called the Lord our righteousness, or Jehovah Tzidkenu. David's line will never lack for a king anymore, nor will the priests be short of men to serve in the temple. My password, I could have no other password today than what it says in chapter 31. Let me find it for you. Right, so chapter 31 and verse 31. From verse 31 to 34, it's something which every Christian should memorize. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Now notice, this isn't a covenant. The new covenant is not the new covenant with Christians. No. The church is going to be long raptured before this covenant is ever commenced. So we're going to be in glory before this covenant is even started. And the Lord emphasizes this, verse 32, it is not according to the commandment that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them up out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke. Because I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Okay? After those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it on their hearts. The law of God will be written in their very body, and it'll be written in their minds. Okay? And I will be their God, and they will be my people. And they will not teach anymore every man his neighbour, or every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest, saith the Lord. And lastly, I will forgive their iniquity. I will remember their sin no more. If ever there's a salvation, of Israel, this is it. But it's not a present reality. It is a future prospect. The salvation of Israel is something yet to come. It's going to come in the day of the Lord, when Christ comes in his garments of glory and beauty, when he comes to bring Israel to himself. We see this exemplified in the life of Joseph. When his brethren came to him, he put all the Gentiles out of the room, and he stood before them, and he wept, and he broke his heart. And they wept, and they broke their hearts, and there was a full restoration. And so there will come a full restoration. And Joseph forgave his brothers, and the Lord Jesus will forgive their sin. Wow. Of course, I'll never see it probably, because it's something very private, personal to Israel and their relationship with the Lord their God. Well, God bless you. It's great to speak to you, and look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.